Hey everyone, this is Northern Kyle, and today I'm going to go over ways to make you a better gamer at Overwatch so that you can climb in rank. The first section will focus on game mechanics, and the second will focus on your mental state. Let's get into it. The first aspect of getting better at the game is pretty obvious, but at the same time is often overlooked, or approached incorrectly. All you have to do is play the game more, like any sport or profession. If you want to excel at them, you need to invest your time. And the amount of time you put into the game depends on your goals and lifestyle, but you can expect the more time you invest, the faster your skill will increase. Now, regardless of how much time you do have, you should be using that time efficiently so you can grow as a player as quickly as possible. Raging at your team would be an example of wasting time if your goal is to climb in ranks. This could cause you to lose sight of your own gameplay, it could tilt you or your teammates, and you're flooding the comm channels with unproductive garbage. After you've finished watching this video, I'm hoping that you should have a better idea on how to use your time more efficiently so that you can become a better player. Now, the first thing that I like to do before hopping into a competitive game for the day is to warm up. I recommend spending about 15 to 30 minutes of warming up. Stick to 30 minutes if you haven't played the game for over a day. I personally warm up by hopping into a few games of quick play matches, but you can also use the practice range or create a custom game if you want. Now, the reason I do this is because the very first few games of the day, I am definitely not playing at my highest level. And ideally, you do not want to be playing subpar in a competitive game. This is only going to hurt your rank. So warm up for a bit, and when you're feeling good, hop into a competitive game. You'll be good to go. Next, you're going to want to look at diversifying your champion pool. You probably have a few heroes that you feel quite comfortable on, but unfortunately you can't always play them because either someone's taken it, or it simply doesn't fit into the team composition. I recommend having 2 heroes from each category that you can play comfortably. Practice them in quick play and during your warm-up until you feel you're ready to bring them into competitive. The added benefit of this is that you also become more comfortable fighting against or alongside heroes in your arsenal. You begin to understand their strengths and weaknesses, which will give you the upper hand. Ultimately, you should strive to understand all heroes for this reason. One more benefit to this is you can easily adapt to new patches. Your favorite hero might get nerfed, but another hero you worked on just got buffed, so it works out. The next thing you should always do in game is pay attention to the kill feed. This is the information that scrolls in the top right hand corner of the screen. It shows when teammates die or enemies die. To turn it on, click Options, and then go up to Gameplay at the top. And the second option will either disable or enable the kill feed display. This information is very valuable. It could tell you when it's a 6 versus 5, which could give you the pushing advantage, resulting in a win or a point. Alternatively, it could tell you when you need to play more defensively if you have a player down. The kill feed can quickly show you if a battle is going in your favor or against your favor. You cannot often rely on your teammates for this information, so it's an extremely valuable tool. Another type of information that Overwatch provides to you are sound cues, and in my opinion it's probably the most important. Blizzard did an amazing job developing the sound for Overwatch. You could pretty much close your eyes and have a good idea of what's going on around you. Every ult has a distinct sound, which differs if an enemy uses it or a teammate uses it. Footsteps give you information as to where enemies are, and are also unique for every hero. It's not uncommon for a person to accuse someone of using wall hacks, but all they were really doing were listening to footsteps, allowing them to determine the position. So, familiarize yourself with all the sounds in the game, and you will be able to react faster and catch your enemies off guard. Next, you need to be comfortable on every map. You should know all the flank routes, the choke points, and other features that might be important. You should know the location of the small and large health packs scattered throughout each level. Do you know all their locations? Can you describe to your team where an enemy is located? You should do your best to try to learn all of these things. It'll give you an extra edge over the enemy. A health pack or area with cover could save your life. Noticing a flanker could save your team. It comes down to being able to use your environment to its greatest potential. Next, you need to learn to survive. Do not die. Any time that you die, you are greatly handicapping your team. Of course, this is not always possible, but in many cases it is. Did you need to overextend? Were you not behind a Reinhardt shield when you should have been? These are some of the questions you should ask yourself every time that you die. Ask yourself, why did it happen? As in, what events led to your demise? What could you have changed that would result in you living right now? You dying is what gives the enemy the momentum to move forward, which results in losses. The take-home from this is, the longer you live, the more games you will win. Which brings me to my next point, know when to retreat, regroup, or push. This one is very important for saving valuable time. If 2 of your teammates are picked off before the fight even begins, you have a drastically reduced chance of winning a push. While this might be pretty obvious, you still typically see teams trickling in, dying one at a time. Every time this happens, you're wasting about 15 to 20 seconds, and you're also staggering your spawn rate, which is very bad. In this case, it would have been much better to wait for your team and regroup, and then push in together. The idea from this is to not take on favorable fights when possible. Taking these unfavorable fights could deplete your time very fast. This next one can be a difficult task to accomplish, but something that should be kept in mind at all times. Do not charge the enemy ults. A good example of denying an enemy ult happens between Reinhardt and D.Va. During a standoff between the two teams, the D.Va should make an effort to absorb every Reinhardt flame strike with defense matrix. If D.Va fails to do this, Reinhardt will get his ult very quickly. While it's not possible to deny ults completely, it is always something you should be thinking about. You should keep note in the back of your mind, if an enemy hasn't used an ult in a long time, they probably have one saved up and ready to go. And you can also use the kill cam to determine the status of an enemy ult. Now, imagine your team is dominating the enemy, the team gets a bit cocky and overextends a bit. As a result, they die and you lose the game. Has this happened to you before? It's definitely happened to me. Which brings me to my next point. Don't lose sight of the objective. That's what we're all here for. The objective wins the game. There are times when it is appropriate to extend further to pick off an extra enemy, because this could stagger their spawn rate. But if you are unsure if you should extend, you probably shouldn't. You do not want to be overextended off the objective when the enemy is regrouping on their retreating teammate. The final topic I want to talk about in the mechanics side of this video is communication. You should have a mic and be willing to use it if you want to be at the top. I'm not saying you need to make a conversation with the people, but you should make enemy location callouts, alt callouts, and really any information that your team could benefit from. This is a team game, and you need your team to win, so why not help them? Did you just hear Reaper teleport nearby? Can you see him? Call it out, let your team know. They may not have heard it, and it could easily wipe the team if it goes unchecked. It really is as simple as that. If you have no plans to use a mic, you should at least be in the voice channel, but seriously, get a mic. Now let's step away from the game and look at the mental factors that might help you improve as a player. The first thing you need to do is lose the ego. It is easy to blame others, but it is a pointless route to take if your goal is to win and get better. Sometimes you'll be stuck with worse teammates, leavers, people who refuse to use voice communication, and other factors that aren't favorable. But all of these variables are not something you can control, and it's also going to happen to your enemies. Focus on the only variable you can control consistently, and that's you. You also need to accept that you're not going to be the best player every game, and you're definitely not going to win every game. Once you accept all of these facts, you can truly start improving on your own gameplay. Which brings me to my next points. Have a winning mindset and learn from your mistakes. If you want to climb competitive, you should want to win. Play the heroes you have practiced. Focus on good team communication and do not belittle your team. You should be enjoyable to play with, and you should understand that team infighting only hurts your chances of winning. Also, as we've touched on previously, you need to always be learning from your mistakes. One way I do this is to record my own gameplay. You very quickly realize that you are not a perfect player when you do this. But on the other hand, it puts into perspective what you do need to improve on. Find the root cause of your mistakes and take actions to correct it. For example, maybe you're playing McCree versus Genji. He always seems to reflect your flashbang. You notice that Genjis will typically reflect early versus McCree, as they anticipate the flashbang. The action you take to correct this is, in the future you decide to only flashbang Genji if the reflect is on cooldown or if you've caught them by surprise. Analysis of your own gameplay will help you grow as a gamer, and it is something that will improve over time as well. Next, you should look at taking more breaks. Your ability to stay focused at your peak levels is not possible 100% of the time. Sometimes you need to take a break because you've been playing for too long. Other times might be because you have had some bad games or you were tilting. When you feel this way, just get up and do something for an hour. Take a walk, make dinner, exercise, or anything else really. When you get back to the game, you're going to feel refreshed and ready to go. Finally, you should try to minimize distractions. Ideally, you want to be in an environment where you can focus on the game. Clean your desk and room. Don't play competitive if people in the house are constantly distracting you. You wouldn't want people talking around you or to you if you were writing an exam that required your full attention. This would constantly break your focus. And it's similar if you're playing a competitive game. It simply comes down to if your goal is to climb in skill rating, you need to focus on the game and not other things. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I hope this video has given you some insight on how to climb in competitive and enjoy it more. If you liked the video, please subscribe and check out my Twitch channel. And if you have any comments or criticism, please leave it below. I'd love to hear it. Have a great day.